Mateys, welcome to Sea of Thieves. This is Damron with Trash Ass Gamers, and we're on part 8 of our Tall Tale series in Sea of Thieves, The Revenge of the Morningstar. Really been having a blast with these Tall Tales as part of the anniversary update. I hope you have too. We're kind of approaching the end. This is the second to the last tale, so it's been really fun. So let's go ahead and get started. You can pick up this tale at the Daggertooth Outpost from the shipwright Sandra. And this will be a complete guide. We'll be covering everything in the mission. Obviously, we're working towards gaining all the missions and all of the Tall Tales so we can get the Seeker of Grand Adventure achievement. You'll obviously get the Revenge of the Morningstar achievement for beating it your first time, and the Morningstar rises once you get all the commendations in this particular mission. If you're coming just for Eli Slate's journals locations, that's going to be at the end of the video. So after you talk to her for a little bit, she's going to give you the ship log of the Morningstar, which is going to tell you that it was beached at Boulder Cay, and scattered throughout the ship are records of our final hours. So that tells us we need to go obviously to Boulder Cay, and if we go to the southeast portion of this island and jump into the water, we're going to find the ruins of the ship. And we're looking for three, pages, and they're going to be shining bright. You can't really miss them, but there is variability. They're not going to be in the same place every single time, but I will say if you're having trouble finding them, back up a little bit, because that way you'll see the shine. When you get close, the shine will kind of go away. But again, those are going to be kind of randomly throughout the ship, so it will be different every single time you play the mission. So once you pick up those pages, you're going to learn that the uniforms were buried on the western portion of Boulder Cay, and Fontaine says she buried them between a palm tree and a rock. And we need these. You'll see the next page, after we find this, we need this uniform in order to talk to someone at Sanctuary Outpost. So here we go. We just dig this up right between the palm tree and the rock, open it, and we're going to grab the Morningstar uniform. And then if we look at the third page we picked up, it's a note from Tracy telling Eli that they're always welcome on Sanctuary Outpost, but she's only going to talk to people if they're wearing those uniforms. Therefore, we need to wear those uniforms. And she also mentions a person named Jasper who was basically running his mouth about the Morningstar crew. So let's head to Sanctuary Outpost and make sure you have the outfit equipped, and you'll be able to go to the tavern and talk to Tracy. So the part of the outfits that you need to have equipped are going to be the hat, there's an eye patch, a jack or a dress, whichever you like, some gloves, and a belt. There's no boots and there's no trousers, so don't think you're missing a piece. It's just really the top half of your body. And once you're wearing those and talk to Tracy, you're going to get more prompts. You know who I am, Captain Slate sends his regards, and where can I find Jasper? And the important one is Captain Slate sends his regards, and if you talk to her through that, eventually she's going to tell you that the gang you're looking for has run to Cannon Cove, and that's the important part of this. So that's basically saying we need to go to Cannon Cove in order to find this skull. And then she also tells you when you ask about Jasper to go to talk to Tyler in the trinket shop on Sanctuary Outpost. So let's head over there and we'll talk to Tyler, and it doesn't take very long for us to learn that his memory is terrible.
Ah, a new customer.
Nonetheless, eventually when you select the option to say, we're here to collect what you owed us, he's going to tell you about these goons and that they are looking for a chalice, and they fled to a sinking cove, which his memory is terrible. That actually is referring to Sunken Grove. And the thing you need to know about this, a quick tidbit, this is how the mission's supposed to play out. But as you're doing your playthroughs and you're trying to get the 5 playthroughs, once you pick up the uniform, you can just travel to Cannon Cove and you can just travel to Sunken Grove. You don't actually have to go talk to Tracy or Tyler. You can actually skip that step to speed up your playthroughs as you're going forward. So once we head to Cannon Cove, you're basically going to walk around until you hear some skeletons, specifically Captain Gripper, and he's going to have some goons with him, and eventually you're going to take him out, and he's going to drop some notes that were given to him by Graymarrow, who's the person we're looking for. And these are his orders. And before we look at that, just keep in mind that the Captain Gripper can spawn really anywhere throughout the island. This is not a stagnant location. It's not just in that cave. He can really be anywhere. So keep in mind, just walk around the island. Eventually you'll see him talking. And then if we look at our book, there's a code that we already had, and this code basically has a lot of symbols in it, and those symbols have specific words related to that symbol. And what I recommend you do is you take a snapshot of this with your phone so you can just have it beside you, because grippers, Graymarrow's orders is going to have a code. And instead of flipping back and forth to figure out what every little symbol was, you can have your phone next to you and just keep that book open. But nonetheless, if we flick back, we look at the first symbol, okay, it means from. The second symbol is kind of a sideways triangle, that means cave. And eventually when you solve it, it's going to look something like this. From cave, walk rising sun, when sun hits face, setting sun, walk Kraken rock, face beach, walk camp south, walk north star, walk 7, dig. And that's essentially directions, right? So if we follow that out of the cave to where the sun hits our face, and then we're going to face the setting sun, aka west, and we're going to walk to the Kraken rock, which you're going to see up here, and then it tells us to walk to the camp. So if we walk down to the beach, down to the camp here, and eventually tells us to face the north, face of the North Star, which is north, and dig 7, walk 7 paces and dig. So as long as you follow those directions, you'll find the skull of Douglas. Now keep in mind, your solution can actually be different than this one. There are several possible solutions, and they may lead you to somewhere else that the specific treasure is located. But that's the concept. That's how you solve it, and you just need to follow the directions. They are generally pretty simple once you figure out where the starting location is. So that's how that works. And then we need to go to Sunken Grove, or Sinking Cove as Tyler calls it, and it's the same concept here. We're going to be looking for the next captain that we have to kill, and he can really be located anywhere on the island again. So just walk around the island until you find out where he is. I've found that he typically tends to be up here, and again, Captain Shaw is going to be with kind of a collection of different skeletons, and eventually you'll clean him up, and he's going to drop again another set of Graymarrow's orders, which are going to have its own code. And again, I highly recommend you take a phone snapshot of the deciphering sequences to make it easier so you're not flipping back and forth. That really made it easier for me. So again, this one ended up being from Kraken Skull, face southwest, walk when camp, face the rising sun, walk when rock, face setting sun, walk 7, dig. So on the northern part, I found the Kraken Skull. We walked to the camp, and then we faced the rising sun, which is east. We walked all the way to the rock, then we faced the setting sun, which is west, and then we walked 7 paces and dug for the chalice. And again, just to reiterate, your specific directions and your specific code could be a little different, but it's always going to take place on Sunken Grove, so we don't need to really show all the different possibilities. Just keep that in mind. And then the next step is knowing that each gripper and Shaw has a location in it. It said on gripper, my resting place is Q, and Shaw says I'll take my last stand at 3. Well, that corresponds to Q3, so that's telling us to go to Marauder's Arch, and that's going to be the resting place of Graymarrow. And there's 3 possibilities of places that it can send you. So let's just quickly show you the altars at the 3 locations so you know where they are. If it sends you to Marauder's Arch, you're going to basically go inside the fort on the eastern side of the island, and just inside that you're going to see the altar. And I always wondered why this fort was here prior to this update, but now it's being used. So if you get M4, that's going to be Old Faithful Isle. And we're going to head all the way to the top of Old Faithful Isle, again inside the fort. on the east side of the island, and just back from the eastern kind of outlook there, you're going to see the altar kind of just sitting here on its own. And the last possible location that he could be is R12, or Kraken's Fall. And on Kraken's Fall, again, we'll head all the way to the eastern side of the island, kind of in the middle of nowhere, and you're going to see the altar sitting right here. And whichever location it sends you, you're going to place the chalice, and then you're going to place the skull of Captain Douglas on the altar, and that's going to summon Graymarrow.
Disturb my sleep.
So after Graymarrow talks some shit for you for a little bit, you're gonna get to face off with this this big bad skeleton lord, and these are kind of really fun fights. It's not just a simple captain. So he's got a blunderbuss. You can't stun him through that. It's not like a normal skeleton. If you keep hitting him, eventually you'll stun their shot. He'll be able to get that shot off no matter what. Another attack that he's gonna do is he'll whip out two chests and he'll smash them together, and that does quite a bit of damage, as you saw right there, and it knocks you back. So be aware of that. When he whips those two chests out, then step back. His other weapon is a pistol. His accuracy with that's not that good. So here you go, he's going to smash the chest together. See how far away I am, and that still did damage to me and knocks me back. So its blast radius is actually significantly large. And then he'll teleport. It's not dangerous. He's just kind of running away, I guess, and he'll drop a lantern behind him and fall in this blue flame and run away. Another attack that he does that you won't see here, he raises the chest and sprinkles some gold around, and that will actually, spawn skeletons to help him out in the fight. He didn't actually do it this time. If you have an explosive barrel like I did, you can really shorten this fight by just blowing that up right beside him right in the beginning of the fight. Nonetheless, once you take him down, he's going to drop another Shroud Breaker Stone. But before we turn that in, that is the end of the mission. But before we turn that in, we need to collect all of Eli Slate's journals. And remember that you have to do these while on the quest. You cannot do these off quest. So the first journal is going to be at Boulder K, right where we dug up the Morningstar uniform. It's going to be right in this broken crate next to some barrels on the west side. The second Eli Slate's journal is going to be at Sanctuary Outpost in the tavern. So if we just launch ourselves over to the tavern and walk in, it's actually going to be right on the left, right as you walk in behind some crates. And the third Eli Slate's journal location is going to be at Cannon Cove. I actually had a lot of difficulty finding this one, but if we just kind of launch up, to the island and we head sort of west southwest up the hill, you'll eventually come to these two barrels with an ammo crate, and it's right behind the barrels on this footstool. The fourth Eli Slate journal location is going to be on Sunken Grove. It's actually on this little tiny islet that's off the northeast portion of Sunken Grove. So if we just jump off of our boat to this little tiny island, it's going to be right on this rock next to a lantern. And the fifth and final Eli Slate's journal location is on Marauder's Arch. And if we're on the southern portion of Marauder's Arch, if we kind of launch ourselves up to this middle platform area, you'll see this cannon up here. And right across from that cannon is some barrels. And the journal's going to be right on top of that barrel. So once we've done that, we got the commendation for all the journals. We're ready to go back to Sandra and turn in the Shroud Breaker Stone. And she's going to talk to you for a little bit. She's going to fess up that she was actually the one who fled the Morningstar when Graymarrow attacked, and she's actually Jill, so she's kind of a coward. So a little respect lost for her. But if we go into our commendations, you'll see we have all the commendations. The only thing you'll have left to do is to complete the mission 5 times. And once you do that, you'll have everything in this particular mission. So I hope you guys found the guide helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe. And hopefully we'll see you out on the seas. And we'll see you in the final part.